Welcome to Stories with Gaming, where drama meets gameplay. From outrageous family secrets to quiet revenge, toxic friendships to moments of redemption, we cover it all, straight from Reddit's wildest threads. While the story unfolds, you'll see gameplay in the background, sometimes intense, sometimes chill, but always a perfect match for the chaos or calm of each tale. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for your daily update. Mara and I had been together for 3 years. The first 2 were picture perfect, or maybe just a really good Instagram filter on top of subtle rot. Sunday pancakes, dog park walks, and nights spent tangled up in each other's hair and sheets. I thought we were in love, but by the time year 3 rolled around, the sugar had turned to vinegar, and what started as subtle shifts, tightened tones, longer silences, spiraled into full-blown psychological warfare. She began checking my phone while I was asleep. Her excuse always the same. You left it unlocked. Then came the questions. Where was I going? Who had I seen? Why did my coworker message me at 8 p.m. about a rescheduled meeting? One time, I laughed off a meme a male colleague sent me. She looked me in the eye and said, "He wants to fuck you. And you know it." We'd be at dinner with friends and she'd smile while casually joking, "You know how she is." Always the center of male attention. They laughed. I didn't. When I called her out, she sighed dramatically and told me I was being dramatic, then said something I'll never forget. "Only guilty people get defensive, babe." I hadn't so much as flirted with anyone since we got together. I was faithful. Desperately so. Meanwhile, Mara was rotting from the inside out. It was Teresa who first saw the truth behind Mara's polished smile. Teresa had been my best friend since sophomore year of high school. She was tall, blunt, and fiercely loyal. She once broke up with her own girlfriend because the girl gave me a weird look. That kind of loyal. One night, after Mara had accused me of screwing the cashier at Whole Foods because I was 15 minutes late from the store, I called Teresa in tears. She came over with wine and fury in equal measure. I showed her the texts, pages of accusations, demands for proof of my whereabouts, even a GPS screenshot she'd taken from my shared location settings. Teresa didn't say anything at first. She just sat quietly, jaw tight. Then she pulled out her phone. Mara, on a dating app, active that same day. The bio? Single. Femme. Looking for something real, no drama. I stared at the screen like it had insulted me out loud. "She's been on for weeks," Teresa said softly. "One of my friends matched with her, recognized her from your posts." My stomach flipped. "You're sure?" Teresa raised her brows. "She described you as her unstable roommate." I felt the rage crack open inside me like a flare gun in the dark. But we didn't fight. Not that night. We plotted. Teresa and I devised a plan so sharp it could skin Mara's ego to the bone. Enter Vicky, my cousin, a certified bombshell with legs for miles and cheekbones that looked photoshopped in real life. People always said we looked alike. Only she was the hotter one. Thanks, family. She was the kind of girl who walked into a room and made mirrors jealous. She was also cunning and owed me big from a time I helped her ghost a manipulative sugar mama. I told her everything. The gaslighting, the cheating, the emotional chokehold Mara had me in. She was horrified and immediately down to help burn it all down. The plan? Vicky would accidentally bump into Mara at her gym, charm her, date her, and slowly drain her emotionally and financially. All while I continued playing the sweet, supportive girlfriend back home. Teresa dubbed it Operation Femme Fatale. I called it Payback. Mara had a predictable schedule. Gym every Tuesday and Thursday, same time, same protein shake selfies on her story. Vicky signed up for a guest pass. We tracked Mara's movements like CIA agents. The first Tuesday, Vicky wore the kind of leggings that made time stop. She stationed herself near the weights. "Target acquired," Vicky texted me. "She's already looking." Less than 30 minutes later, Mara approached her, smile tight, eyes hungry. "Nice form? You train often?" Vicky smiled like a cat with feathers in her teeth. By the end of the day, Mara had her number. Mara started canceling plans with me by that weekend. Claimed she was working late, but Vicky sent me selfies from the table of a candlelit restaurant I'd begged Mara to take me to for our anniversary. She never did. But Vicky got the full experience on date number 1. Mara ordered the most expensive wine, told Vicky she was practically single, said she was trying to get out of a relationship with a manipulative girl who threatened self-harm every time things got rocky. She was talking about me. I wanted to scream, but I smiled instead. I had work to do. Over the next 2 weeks, Mara spiraled deeper into her infatuation. She bought Vicky gifts, jewelry, spa vouchers, a designer purse she left at Mara's apartment and brought straight to me. Every lie she told me came with a receipt, and I kept them all. One night, Mara came home with lipstick on her collar, a shade I didn't wear. She noticed me looking and laughed. "Relax, it's from a sample at Sephora." I smiled sweetly, filed it under evidence, Volger 14, and kissed her on the cheek. We began calling the money she spent on Vicky our revenge fund. Every time Mara handed her cash or booked a trip, we got a little closer to the finish line. We used that fund for everything. Facials, wine nights, even a boudoir photo shoot of me in the earrings Mara gave to Vicky. By the end of the month, Mara had spent over $3,000 on my cousin, and she still had no idea. Then things turned. Mara told me we needed to talk. She looked serious, pacing like a caged animal. I braced myself for the breakup. But instead, she proposed, pulled out a tiny, barely there diamond ring and dropped to one knee on our living room floor. Said she'd been going through something personal, that she'd realized what she had before she lost it, that I was the only one who really understood her. The hypocrisy nearly made me gag. I stared at her. My hands were shaking. She took it as nerves. I took it as the moment the game changed. I asked for time, said I needed to think. She offered to let me go stay with my parents. I packed a bag and went straight to Teresa's. Mara had no idea that the woman she thought she was building a life with was collecting evidence like scalps. That her dream girl was my cousin. That her credit card had bought the shoes I wore when I stepped on her neck, metaphorically speaking. She didn't know the woman crying into her texts was the same one who was sleeping in my guest bed, sharing popcorn and screenshots as we laughed at her desperation. And she definitely didn't know that we were just getting started. By the time I got to Teresa's apartment, my bag in one hand and engagement ring in the other, the war was already halfway won. All we had to do was finish it in style. Teresa took the ring and held it up to the light. "This? She tried to lock you down with this?" It was barely a ring, more like a metallic whisper. "She's broke," I muttered, but still fronting like she's high-rolling Vicky through her fantasy getaway. She thinks Bora Bora's the answer. Teresa didn't laugh. She smirked. "Then let's turn her dream vacation into a nightmare she pays for twice." The next day, Vicky turned up the heat. She sent Mara pictures of white sand beaches, infinity pools, sunset bungalows, every one of them straight out of a honeymoon brochure. She played her role perfectly, the wide-eyed lover, desperate for a once-in-a-lifetime escape. Mara, predictably, swallowed the bait like it was champagne. She started calculating flight prices, comparing resorts, calling it an investment in our love. Back at Teresa's, we were drawing blueprints. While Mara maxed her credit cards to book the trip, we were draining her emotionally and financially, and we hadn't even opened our final act yet. The money trail got uglier, and we followed it like bloodhounds. Mara was dipping into our joint account, the account meant for bills, groceries, the rent I always paid half on. She was transferring chunks into her personal account labeled Savings Future. I guess in her head, her future was Vicky. That future? Yeah, we were about to burn it down. Vicky started playing the damsel. "My car died. I can't afford repairs," she sniffled over text. Mara wired $600 the same day. Then told me over dinner that we needed to tighten our spending, maybe cut Netflix, maybe start making our own coffee instead of buying it. I nearly spit out my wine. "You're right," I said, sweet as syrup. "Every penny counts." She sold her vintage guitars, pawned the gold watch her grandfather left her, even cashed out her precious crypto portfolio at a loss, all for Vicky. And I, her fiancé, was sitting in Teresa's loft, soaking in bubble baths and sipping $20 cocktails Mara had unwittingly paid for. She was hemorrhaging money. And the best part? She had no idea the woman draining her dry was family. Week by week, she got sloppier. She'd leave receipts for gifts in her jacket pockets. Receipts I'd find while doing her laundry, which I now sorted into piles: delicates, darks, and evidence. Once, she called me Vicky in her sleep. I stared at her. For a moment, I considered pressing a pillow over her face and finishing it right there. Instead, I whispered, "I'm not Vicky. then rolled away, memorizing every syllable of her betrayal. She started borrowing money from her brother, from friends, even taking out a $15,000 personal loan. She told me she was planning for us. I told her she was brave. Inside, I was screaming. Vicky mentioned a luxury yoga retreat in the mountains. Mara booked it within 48 hours. Then Vicky got called into work and couldn't make it. But someone had to use the reservation, so Teresa and I went. We stretched, drank cucumber water, and got hot stone massages on a hilltop, while Mara sat at home, icing her bank account and waiting for her fake lover to come back online. Then came the proposal's fallout. Mara started pushing me for an answer. Daily check-ins, syrupy good morning texts, love songs sent via Spotify. I kept delaying. I just need time. She was getting anxious and desperate. One night, she sat me down in our shared apartment and held my hand. I need help, she said. Her voice trembled. Her hands were shaking. For a second, I almost believed it was real. I've made some mistakes, financially, but I'm getting my life together, for us. That's when she asked me to take out a loan in my name, to consolidate her debts, to prove we're in this together. I felt every hair on my neck rise. You want me to go into debt? For you? I asked softly. No, just temporarily. Just to help stabilize things until I'm back on my feet. We're building a future together, babe. You're my fiancé. The bile burned my throat, but I nodded. I'll think about it. I didn't go to the bank. I went to the bar. Met up with Teresa and Vicky and laughed until my ribs hurt. Then we made a list. A brutal, vicious, beautifully final checklist. Step 1. Vicky would get Mara to book their tropical getaway in full. Step 2, I'd play the long-suffering fiancé and delay the loan process. Step 3, when the time was right, we'd cut the strings all at once. Vicky played it masterfully. She called Mara crying. My grandma's in the hospital. I might have to cancel the trip. Mara begged her not to. We'll reschedule. We'll find another time. No, it's non-refundable. Go without me. You need a break too. Mara wouldn't let it go. The guilt was real. She even sent flowers to Grandma, which got delivered to my new apartment where Vicky had been staying for 2 weeks. We laughed so hard we nearly passed out. Then, 2 days later, Vicky called her again. Good news. She's stable. We can go. Mara nearly cried from relief. The final booking was made. Flights. Resort. Private excursions. All in Mara's name. All on Mara's dime. All for a trip that would never happen. The night before the trip, I told Mara I wanted to talk. We sat on the same couch where she proposed. I wore the same dress I'd worn on our first date. I let her think, for just a moment, that we had a future. I went to the bank, I said. Her face lit up. I can probably get approved for $25,000, I added. She grabbed my hand. Baby, that's amazing. You have no idea how much this means. But, I said, smiling, I need to see everything. All your records, credit cards, bank statements, everything. Her face dropped like a guillotine. I just want to understand what we're up against, I added. Transparency is important. We're building a life, remember? Mara stammered. Tried to dodge, tried to guilt trip. I smiled, nodded, and said I understood. I'll go back to the bank Monday. Mara spent the weekend cleaning, cooking, pretending we were okay, bringing me tea, rubbing my feet, whispering, I love you every hour. Meanwhile, Vicky was texting her every 15 minutes about packing lists and sunscreen. And me? I was counting down the hours until detonation. The morning of the Bora Bora trip arrived like a blood moon. Mara was a mess. Nervous, sweating through her t-shirt, triple-checking her passport, her charger, her lies. I stood in the doorway with a mug of coffee I hadn't made for her, watching her try to look composed while she zipped up a suitcase stuffed with lingerie and tropical print shirts she had no business wearing. Wish me luck, she said, trying to sound casual. Break a leg, I replied, deadpan. She gave me a kiss on the cheek. The same mouth she used to whisper love into my ear was the same one she used to lie to every woman she ever touched. I nearly spit in her face. But no. That came later. As soon as she left for the airport, I grabbed my phone and texted 2 words to Teresa and Vicky. Showtime. We met up at my apartment. Our apartment, technically, but not for long. I had spent the last 2 weeks moving out in slow motion. Every sentimental item was already gone. Every trace of love packed in bubble wrap or burned in a kitchen trash fire I let smolder. I'd paid the rent for this month just to avoid suspicion. After today, Mara could drown in her own unpaid bills. We had work to do. We pulled up the group folder. Audio clips, screenshots, video messages, receipts. Our evidence locker. "Let's bleed her dry," I said, and my girls smiled. Meanwhile, Mara was texting Vicky furiously at the gate. "Can't wait to hold you under a waterfall. I packed that bikini you said you liked. Hope I survive the flight," next to some rando lol. Vicky, lying on my couch in her pajamas, simply sent, "Can't wait to see you boarding now." We watched her post a selfie from the airport lounge with the caption, "Paradise, here I come." Teresa leaned in and muttered, "Paradise is a knife in the ribs and a credit score in flames." The second Mara landed, it all began. Phase 1, identity destruction. While she was in the air, Teresa, bless her journalism background, had scheduled emails to be sent out automatically from an anonymous burner. Each one contained meticulously organized folders of evidence, screenshots of her flings with multiple women, messages mocking me, detailing sexual exploits while I slept in the next room, recordings of her calling me her Roomba who pays rent, photos of gifts, Mara bought Vicky labeled for future tax evasion reference, recipients, her HR manager, her boss, her brother, her ex-girlfriends, her mother. Each got a tailored message, not accusatory but factual, just enough to raise eyebrows and cut off bridges. Mara's phone must have lit up like a crime scene by the time the plane touched down. Phase 2, the betrayal blade. She arrived at the resort alone. Texted Vicky, "Just checked in. The place is insane. Wait till you see the view." Vicky replied, "Babe, we need to talk." We waited. Mara texted again, "What's wrong?" Then a minute later, "Then 5. Vicky called. Teresa and I put her on speaker and hit record. Vicky's voice was ice cream laced with arsenic. "I'm not who you think I am, Mara." There was silence. Then, "What are you talking about?" "I'm not your girlfriend. I'm her cousin." More silence, like time itself froze. "I've known everything. Since the first message, since the first time you tried to cheat on her and called her crazy. We've been watching you for months." "You're lying." "No," Vicky said. "You are." Then she hung up. Phase 3, confrontation. Mara FaceTimed me 10 minutes later, tears streaking down her face, hair frizzy from airport humidity and panic. "Please," she said. "Let me explain," I answered. From her favorite spot on our couch, wearing her hoodie, drinking champagne. "Oh, I know everything, babe." "Did you set me up?" I tilted my head. "What do you think?" "What do you think?" Her eyes flicked to someone off screen, probably a resort staff member, probably trying to keep her from collapsing. "You used me," she said. I smiled. "You're goddamn right." "I loved you." "No," I said, leaning in. "You loved the convenience. You loved the free labor, the rent split, the loyalty you didn't have to earn." Her lip trembled. "Where do we go from here?" "Go? You're not going anywhere. You booked 5 non-refundable nights. Enjoy it. You paid for both of us, remember?" Then I hung up and blocked her. Later that night, we went to her favorite bar. Without her. I wore the watch she gave Vicky. Vicky wore the designer heels she told Mara were for a friend. Teresa wore war paint made of lipstick and audacity. We toasted. "To closure," I said. Teresa raised her glass. "To bankruptcy." Vicky? "To making narcissists cry in tropical climates." Day 2. Mara lost it. Her social media went into meltdown mode. Tweets about betrayal, Instagram stories of wine by the ocean with vague captions like "trust no one." People noticed. We saw the comments roll in. Her exes messaged me. "Is it true?" Finally, someone did it. "Can I buy you a drink?" Mara messaged Teresa, then Vicky, then me again from a new number. "Please, come back. I'm sorry." I sent her a voice memo of her own recording. "I gag when she kisses me." And then I added, "Eat that." By day 3, she was unraveling. She missed her spa appointment, argued with resort staff about switching rooms, tried to book a return flight early, but couldn't. Her credit cards were flagged for suspicious activity. The best part? We'd sent a tip to her bank that the sudden charges were possibly fraudulent. They froze her account just in time for her to try and buy a $28 mimosa at the resort bar. Guess who got turned away? That night, we had one last gift to send her. A package. Inside, a printed copy of her dating profile, photos of her and Vicky at the gym, receipts for everything she ever bought for love. And the ring she gave me, now attached to a bottle of KY jelly and a note that read, "You're gonna need this now. Good luck out there." The fallout back home was nuclear. Her job, investigating ethics violations. Her boss received those messages she sent calling a coworker a dumb slut I'd only fuck on a dare. She was let go within days. Her family, Confused, betrayed, furious. Her reputation? Shattered. And us? We were thriving. Vicky booked a solo trip, same resort, different week, paid for by her modeling gig. Fully legal. Fully fabulous. Teresa got a tattoo of a dagger wrapped in roses. Right under her collarbone. And me? I moved into a new place. Quiet. Secure. No mirrors I need to avoid. I bought new sheets, a new toothbrush, and a cast iron skillet. Because some things shouldn't bend. Some things are built to break. The trip ended, but Mara's reckoning didn't. She returned from paradise with a half-dead phone, maxed out cards, and eyes so bloodshot you'd think she'd crawled out of a grave. Her tan had faded into a sunburn. Her hair knotted from salt and desperation. Her apartment? Empty. Her fiancé? Gone. Her soulmate? A ghost in stiletto heels. She tried to call me. 10 times. I blocked every number she used, even the fake one named Spa Inquiry. But it didn't stop her. A week later, she showed up at my new apartment. It was raining. How poetic. And I watched her through the peephole. Soaked to the bone, hair plastered to her face, holding a plastic bag like it contained answers or maybe an apology I hadn't asked for. She knocked. Then again. Please, just 5 minutes. I opened the door. Not out of sympathy. Out of control. I wanted to see her fall apart up close. She looked like a ghost. Thin, trembling, eyes ringed in shadows. The smell of wet fabric and something sharp, like cheap wine and sweat. I just need closure, she said. I let her in. She sat on the edge of the couch like she expected it to bite her. She looked around, at the clean apartment, the lack of our photos, the total absence of her presence. You destroyed my life, she said softly, like it was a fact. No, I replied, voice cold as steel. You destroyed your life. I just filmed it. She opened the plastic bag. Inside, my old toothbrush, a hoodie I left behind, a printed photo of us, bent at the corner, the necklace I wore on our first anniversary. Thought you might want these. Burn them, I said. Or better yet, sell them. Looks like you need the cash. She flinched. Do you hate me? I stared at her. Hate requires too much energy. What I feel for you is colder than hate. She looked away. I loved you, she whispered. No, I said, you used me, then tried to lie your way through the fire. Tears finally slid down her cheeks. I lost everything. I stood. You earned it. When she left, I felt nothing. Not satisfaction, not relief, just space, the quiet kind, the permanent kind. Teresa called that night. She showed up, didn't she? Yeah. She cry? Yeah. Did you punch her? No. Pause. Should've. But karma doesn't always need fists. Sometimes it uses courtrooms. See, Mara had used our joint account illegally. I had proof. Dozens of bank transfers, receipts for gifts to anonymous women, and screenshots of her boasting about how I'd never notice. I noticed. I filed a small claims case for over $5,000, and when the court summoned her, she had the audacity to try and countersue for emotional damages. The judge laughed. Not figuratively. Laughed. When we submitted the printed evidence, her face went bone white. The video of her saying, I'm just using her until someone better comes along, played like a trailer for the world's most embarrassing documentary. Judgment? In my favor. All of it. That was the first time she tried to claw her way back into stability. The second time came when she tried to restart her career. Trouble was, her old boss now had a very detailed email thread about her calling a colleague a whiny dyke who should just transition already. HR never forgot that one. She was blackballed from her industry. Every job application, dead silence. LinkedIn, crickets. Instagram, private. OnlyFans, a desperate Hail Mary. Vicky and I subscribed. Gave her 1 star. Reported her account for impersonation. It was gone in 3 days. Mara's descent wasn't loud. It was slow, ugly, and thoroughly unpaid. First, she crashed on her brother's couch. Then her friend Sam's floor. Then nowhere. Word got around she was sleeping in her car. That she'd tried to crash at an ex's place and got pepper sprayed. Poetic. The final straw? She messaged Vicky from a burner. You win. Is that what you wanted? Vicky didn't respond. She forwarded it to me with a note. This girl still doesn't get it. We didn't want to win. We wanted her to lose. And lose she did. I moved on, got a new apartment, new friends, even started dating again. Cautiously, slowly, with my whole heart double locked. Teresa met someone too. They're annoyingly perfect together. And Vicky? She's modeling in Milan now. Sent me a postcard with a red lipstick kiss on the back. Make bad people pay. Always. Soxo V. Mara still exists, technically. But she's a shadow, a cautionary tale. A name we say when we want to feel better about our own damage. Every once in a while, I'll check her socials just to confirm she's still losing. Last I saw, a grainy selfie from a public restroom. Caption, "Some people never change." And she's right. I haven't changed. I'm still sharp, still patient, still dangerous. But now I only use my blades on people who deserve them. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed, please like, share, and subscribe for more content. If you want to share your stories, please comment below. Additionally, what is your opinion on the poster's decision?